Toxicity, a term that has become increasingly prevalent in our modern lexicon, reflecting a growing awareness of the harmful dynamics that can permeate our interactions and environments. We frequently apply this label to a wide spectrum of behaviors, relationships, and even social contexts that we perceive as detrimental to our well-being. But what does this concept truly encompass in its entirety? Why does it often elicit such a profound and visceral effect on our emotional and mental states? And perhaps most crucially, how can we harness the timeless wisdom of Buddhism to not only comprehend but also effectively address this pervasive aspect of our lives? In this comprehensive exploration, we will meticulously peel back the layers of what it means to encounter individuals exhibiting toxic traits. We'll examine the multifaceted impact these interactions can have on our emotional, spiritual, and even physical well-being, drawing parallels between modern psychological understanding and ancient Buddhist insights. Our journey will take us deep into the Buddhist perspective on these challenging interactions, uncovering how the profound teachings and time-tested practices of this ancient philosophy can equip us with powerful tools for navigating life's more difficult relationships. These invaluable tools will not only help us identify toxic influences with greater clarity, but also empower us to respond to them in ways that preserve our inner peace, nurture our innate compassion, and foster personal growth even in the face of adversity. As we embark on this illuminating journey through the rich tapestry of Buddhist wisdom and its practical applications in modern life, we extend a warm invitation for you to become an integral part of our growing community. By subscribing to our channel, The School of Buddha, you're not merely supporting our mission, you're actively participating in the dissemination of teachings that have the potential to cultivate greater peace, understanding, and harmony in our world. Together, we can work towards a world where toxic interactions are met with understanding, compassion, and wisdom, fostering healthier relationships and more harmonious communities. In our exploration of toxicity, it's crucial to delve deeper into the concept of what we commonly refer to as toxic traits. These are essentially qualities or behaviors in individuals that lead to harm, negativity, and undue stress for those around them. Such traits can manifest in various forms, ranging from subtle manipulations to overt aggression, and their impact can be profound and far-reaching. While the term toxic is a modern construct, Buddhism provides us with a profound and time-tested framework to identify and comprehend these harmful tendencies. Interestingly, Buddhist philosophy doesn't explicitly use the term toxic. Instead, it offers a more nuanced and compassionate approach to understanding harmful behaviors. Rather than labeling individuals or actions as toxic, Buddhism focuses on understanding the root causes of harmful actions. This approach aligns with the Buddha's teaching of looking beyond surface-level judgments to understand the deeper motivations and conditions that give rise to destructive behaviors. In Buddhist thought, harmful actions are often attributed to what are known as the three poisons or kleshas: craving, aversion, and ignorance. These fundamental concepts offer us a deeper insight into the nature of harmful behaviors and their origins. Craving refers to excessive desire or attachment. Aversion encompasses hatred and rejection, while ignorance relates to a fundamental misunderstanding of the nature of reality and interconnectedness. By understanding these root causes, we can approach toxic behaviors with greater compassion and wisdom, recognizing that they often stem from deep-seated suffering rather than malicious intent. Here are 3 examples of harmful traits. 1. The destructive force of excessive anger and criticism. In Buddhist teachings, anger is recognized as one of the primary wellsprings of suffering, both for the individual harboring it and for those in their sphere of influence. This understanding goes beyond mere observation of anger's immediate effects. It delves into the cyclical nature of anger and how it perpetuates suffering. Individuals who exhibit toxic traits often weaponize criticism and anger as tools of dominance and control, creating a hostile environment that affects everyone involved. A person consumed by the flames of anger may leave a trail of emotional devastation in their wake, using harsh words, mockery, or constant blame to diminish and control others. This behavior not only causes immediate pain, but can also have long-lasting effects on the self-esteem and emotional well-being of those subjected to it. The Buddha often spoke about the importance of mindfulness and self-reflection in managing anger, emphasizing that by understanding our own anger, we can begin to transform it into compassion and understanding.
Consider the cautionary tale of Devadatta, the cousin of Buddha, whose life serves as a powerful illustration of the destructive nature of unchecked anger and jealousy. Devadatta's mind was often clouded by an intense resentment towards Buddha's spiritual achievements and influence. This toxic combination of jealousy and anger drove Devadatta to make multiple attempts on Buddha's life, showcasing how these negative emotions can escalate to extreme actions when left unchecked.
However, what's truly remarkable and instructive about this story is Buddha's response. In the face of such hostility, Buddha consistently maintained an attitude of compassion and calm, thereby setting a profound example of how to break the cycle of negativity and respond to hatred with loving kindness. This response not only protected Buddha's own inner peace, but also created an opportunity for transformation, demonstrating that even in the face of extreme negativity, one can choose to respond with wisdom and compassion. 2. The insidious nature of manipulation and dishonesty. One of the most damaging aspects of toxic behavior is the tendency to manipulate or deceive others. Such actions force those around the manipulator to exist in a state of perpetual uncertainty and mistrust. This constant state of doubt can lead to significant psychological distress and create complex moral dilemmas for those involved. The impact of manipulation extends beyond immediate interactions, often eroding the foundation of trust that is essential for healthy relationships and communities. In Buddhist philosophy, the concept of right speech is paramount. This ethical guideline emphasizes the importance of truthful, kind, and beneficial communication. In contrast to manipulative behaviors, Buddha emphasized the importance of mindfulness and what he termed right speech, a practice that involves speaking truthfully, with kindness and compassion. This approach not only fosters trust and harmony in relationships, but also contributes to one's own peace of mind and spiritual growth. By practicing right speech, individuals create an environment of openness and honesty, which naturally counteracts the harmful effects of manipulation and deceit. This practice encourages self-reflection and mindfulness in our communications, helping us to recognize and avoid patterns of dishonesty in our own behavior. Let's understand through an example. Buddha, in his infinite wisdom, often cautioned his followers against associating closely with individuals prone to lying and manipulation. He understood that these behaviors act like a thick fog, obscuring clear judgment and leading inevitably to confusion, mistrust, and profound suffering. This teaching highlights the importance of discernment in our relationships and the company we keep. By encouraging his disciples to value honesty and surround themselves with truthful individuals, Buddha was essentially advocating for the creation of environments conducive to spiritual growth and emotional well-being. This guidance extends beyond personal relationships, emphasizing the importance of cultivating honesty and integrity in all aspects of life, including our social circles, workplaces, and communities. 3. The isolating effects of self-centeredness. At the heart of Buddhist philosophy lies the understanding that ego and self-centeredness are primary sources of suffering. This insight goes beyond mere observation of selfish behavior. It delves into the fundamental nature of reality and our interconnectedness with all beings. Buddhist teachings emphasize that our perception of a separate, permanent self is an illusion, and clinging to this illusion leads to suffering. Self-centeredness creates invisible yet formidable barriers between individuals, fostering feelings of isolation and disconnection. People exhibiting toxic traits often demonstrate an alarming disregard for the well-being of others, viewing the world solely through the lens of their own desires and needs. This myopic perspective not only harms those around them, but also perpetuates a cycle of suffering for the self-centered individual, as they remain trapped in the limited and ultimately unfulfilling pursuit of self-gratification at the expense of meaningful connections and true happiness. Buddhist practices, such as loving-kindness meditation and compassion cultivation, offer powerful antidotes to self-centeredness. These practices help individuals expand their circle of concern beyond themselves, fostering a sense of connection and empathy with others. By recognizing our fundamental interconnectedness, we can begin to transform self-centered tendencies into a more expansive, compassionate worldview. Moreover, Buddhism teaches that true happiness and fulfillment come not from satisfying our own desires, but from cultivating compassion and working for the benefit of all beings. This shift in perspective can be transformative, leading to more harmonious relationships and a deeper sense of purpose and contentment in life. When we find ourselves surrounded by individuals who consistently display these harmful traits, the impact on our lives can be profound and far-reaching, touching various aspects of our existence. Let's embark on a comprehensive exploration of the multifaceted ways in which toxic influences can affect our well-being, drawing insights from both Buddhist wisdom and contemporary understanding. 1. The emotional drain. One of the most immediate and noticeable effects of prolonged exposure to toxic individuals is the profound emotional exhaustion it induces. Buddhist teachings, with their emphasis on the interconnected nature of all beings, provide a unique lens through which we can understand this phenomenon. Just as ripples spread across the surface of a pond when a stone is thrown, emotions too have a ripple effect, influencing those around us in subtle yet powerful ways. Our environments, including the people we interact with on a daily basis, play a crucial and often underestimated role in shaping our thoughts, emotions, and responses to the world around us. When we find ourselves constantly absorbing negativity from toxic individuals, it can lead to a gradual but significant depletion of our emotional resources, akin to a slow leak in our emotional reservoir. Over time, this persistent negative influence may manifest in various ways, causing us to experience a range of challenging emotional states. We might find ourselves grappling with feelings of chronic anxiety, as if we're constantly on edge, anticipating the next negative interaction. Our self-esteem may take a hit, leading us to question our worth and capabilities. In more severe cases, we might even develop a pervasive sense of unworthiness, as if we're somehow deserving of the negative treatment we're receiving. It's in these trying situations that the Buddhist teachings on mindfulness and emotional regulation become particularly relevant and powerful. These ancient practices offer us a set of invaluable tools to maintain our inner balance amidst the storm of external negativity. Through mindfulness, we can learn to observe our emotional responses without becoming overwhelmed by them, creating a space between stimulus and response that allows for more skillful navigation of challenging interactions. 2. The subtle erosion of spiritual connection. A cornerstone of Buddhist practice is the cultivation and maintenance of inner peace, coupled with a steadfast connection to our core values and spiritual beliefs. This inner sanctuary serves as a refuge, a source of strength and clarity in the face of life's challenges. However, the presence of toxic individuals in our lives can pose a significant and often underestimated challenge to this spiritual equilibrium. The negative influence of toxic people can be insidious, gradually drawing us away from our practices of mindfulness and compassion. Like a strong current pulling us off course, their presence may subtly encourage responses that are rooted in anger, jealousy, or fear, rather than in love and understanding. This shift can be so gradual that we might not immediately notice it, but over time, it can create a profound disconnect between our actions and our deeper spiritual aspirations. This misalignment between our behavior and our core values can lead to internal conflict, causing us to feel as if we're losing touch with our authentic selves. We might find ourselves reacting in ways that don't align with our spiritual beliefs, leading to feelings of guilt, confusion, or a sense of spiritual stagnation. Fortunately, Buddhist teachings offer valuable guidance on how to maintain our spiritual integrity even in the face of such challenges. The emphasis on regular meditation practice provides a powerful tool for reconnecting with our inner selves and reaffirming our spiritual values. Self-reflection, another key aspect of Buddhist practice, allows us to examine our thoughts and actions with compassion and clarity, helping us identify when we're straying from our path. The concept of compassionate detachment is particularly relevant when dealing with toxic individuals. This practice teaches us to maintain our compassion for others while also creating healthy emotional boundaries. It allows us to engage with difficult people without becoming entangled in their negativity, preserving our spiritual well-being while still approaching others with kindness and understanding. 3. The often overlooked physical toll. In an intriguing convergence of ancient wisdom and modern scientific understanding, we find that prolonged exposure to toxic relationships can have tangible and sometimes alarming effects on our physical health. This intersection of traditional Buddhist insights and contemporary research provides a compelling argument for the importance of cultivating healthy relationships and environments. Contemporary scientific studies have revealed that chronic stress, often a byproduct of persistent toxic interactions, can lead to a host of serious health issues. These range from elevated blood pressure, which puts additional strain on the cardiovascular system, to a weakened immune function, leaving us more susceptible to illness and disease. Perhaps most startlingly, research has shown that chronic stress can even accelerate cellular aging, potentially shortening our lifespan at a fundamental biological level. This scientific insight aligns remarkably well with Buddhist scholars' long-held emphasis on the intricate and inseparable connection between mind and body. Buddhist philosophy has always advocated for a holistic approach to well-being, recognizing that true health encompasses not just the physical body, but also our mental and emotional states. This ancient wisdom understands that our thoughts, emotions, and relationships have a direct impact on our physical health, a concept that modern medicine is increasingly coming to appreciate. The Buddhist approach to wellness underscores the critical importance of surrounding ourselves with positive influences. Just as we are mindful of the food we put into our bodies, Buddhism encourages us to be equally mindful of the emotional and social environments we immerse ourselves in. This holistic perspective recognizes that the company we keep and the relationships we nurture can be as influential to our health as our diet or exercise habits. Moreover, Buddhist practices offer a wealth of stress reduction techniques that can serve as powerful antidotes to the physical effects of toxic exposure. Meditation, mindful breathing, and other contemplative practices have been shown to have measurable positive effects on physical health, from lowering blood pressure to boosting immune function. These practices not only help to counteract the immediate effects of stress, but also build resilience, making us better equipped to handle future challenges. By integrating these ancient practices with our modern understanding of health, we can create a comprehensive approach to wellness that addresses both the visible and invisible impacts of toxic relationships on our physical being. This synthesis of wisdom allows us to not only recognize the profound connection between our social environments and our physical health, but also provides us with practical tools to nurture and protect our well-being in the face of life's inevitable challenges. As we navigate the intricate tapestry of human connections, a profound question emerges: how can we skillfully discern and identify toxic individuals within our sphere of influence? Buddhist philosophy, with its profound emphasis on mindfulness, clarity of perception, and deep understanding, offers us invaluable insights into this delicate process. The Buddha, in his infinite wisdom, consistently urged his disciples to cultivate a state of profound awareness, encouraging them to keenly observe the actions of others rather than being swayed solely by the often deceptive nature of words. Moreover, he placed great importance on the cultivation and trust of one's intuition, that subtle inner voice of wisdom, which often perceives harmful patterns and dynamics long before our conscious mind fully acknowledges their presence. This multifaceted approach, which harmoniously blends keen observation with intuitive understanding, provides us with a robust and nuanced framework for recognizing and addressing toxic influences in our lives. It empowers us to navigate our relationships with greater discernment, compassion, and wisdom, ultimately fostering environments conducive to our personal growth and spiritual well-being. Let us embark on an exploration of some key identifiers that can serve as beacons, guiding us in the recognition of potentially toxic individuals. 1. The perpetual cycle of repeating patterns. One of the most reliable and telling indicators of toxicity in an individual is the presence of consistent repeating patterns of harmful behavior. If you find that your interactions with a particular person regularly result in emotional turmoil, unnecessary drama, or leave you feeling profoundly drained on an emotional and energetic level, it serves as a strong indication that toxicity may be present in the dynamic. In Buddhist philosophy, this concept of repetitive harmful patterns bears a striking resemblance to the profound idea of samsara, the cyclical nature of suffering and rebirth that characterizes unenlightened existence. Just as sentient beings find themselves caught in the web of samsara due to their attachments, delusions, and karmic patterns, toxic individuals often ensnare themselves and others in cycles of negative behavior. They may repeatedly engage in actions that cause harm, seemingly trapped in a loop of destructive patterns from which they appear unable or unwilling to break free. The recognition of these cycles is not merely an intellectual exercise, but a crucial step in safeguarding our own well-being. Moreover, it opens up the possibility of compassionately helping others recognize and potentially liberate themselves from these harmful habitual tendencies. 2. The resistance to self-reflection. A cornerstone of Buddhist practice and personal growth lies in the willingness to engage in honest, deep self-reflection. This introspective process involves a thorough examination of our thoughts, actions, and motivations with a spirit of openness, non-judgmental awareness, and sincere curiosity. It demands considerable courage to acknowledge our faults and shortcomings, coupled with the humility required to earnestly work on improving ourselves. This path of self-reflection and continuous improvement is seen as essential for spiritual growth and the alleviation of suffering. In stark contrast, individuals exhibiting toxic traits often display a marked and persistent resistance to this kind of introspection. When confronted with the consequences of their actions or when their behavior is brought into question, they may instinctively deflect blame, steadfastly avoid taking accountability, or become defensive to the point of hostility. This unwillingness to look within and acknowledge their role in creating discord can be a clear and concerning indicator of toxic tendencies. The Buddha's teachings emphasize that true growth and liberation from suffering stem from a deep understanding and transformation of our own minds, a process that necessitates ongoing self-examination and a genuine willingness to change and evolve. 3. The absence of genuine compassion. At the very core of Buddhist teachings lies the cultivation of compassion, a profound, genuine concern for the well-being and happiness of all sentient beings. This compassion is not merely a passive feeling or fleeting emotion, but rather an active force that motivates us to alleviate suffering wherever we encounter it. It is a fundamental recognition of our interconnectedness and shared desire for happiness. Individuals who consistently demonstrate a lack of empathy and understanding, instead showing indifference or even cruelty towards others' pain, often become sources of suffering and emotional distress to those around them. This absence of compassion can manifest in various ways, from a callous disregard for others' feelings and experiences to actively deriving pleasure from causing pain or discomfort to others. In Buddhist thought, such behavior is understood to arise from a fundamental misunderstanding of the interconnected nature of all beings and a deeply rooted sense of separation and isolation. The ability to recognize this lack of compassion in others is not about judgment or condemnation, but rather serves as a crucial step in protecting our own emotional well-being and maintaining our commitment to kindness and empathy. It allows us to approach such individuals with wisdom and discernment, maintaining our own compassionate nature while also establishing necessary boundaries for our own protection and growth. When we find ourselves confronted with toxic individuals in our lives, our initial reactions might lean towards confrontation, resistance, or attempts to change their behavior. However, Buddhist wisdom offers a different perspective, teaching us that trying to control others is often a futile endeavor that only leads to more suffering. Instead, Buddhism provides guidance on how to respond skillfully to challenging individuals, emphasizing what actions we should avoid to maintain our own peace and integrity. Let's explore some key practices to refrain from when dealing with toxic people. 1. The pitfall of responding with anger. One of the most natural yet counterproductive reactions to toxic behavior is to respond with anger. However, as the Buddha wisely observed, hatred is never appeased by hatred in this world. By non-hatred alone is hatred appeased. This profound insight reminds us that meeting negativity with more negativity only perpetuates and often escalates the cycle of harm. When we react to toxic behavior with anger, we not only risk escalating the situation, but also compromise our own inner peace and ethical standards. Instead, Buddhism encourages us to cultivate compassion and equanimity, even in the face of hostility. By choosing to respond with understanding and kindness, we create an opportunity to break the cycle of negativity and potentially transform the interaction. This doesn't mean tolerating abuse or harmful behavior, but rather approaching the situation with a calm and clear mind, which allows for more constructive responses. 2. The danger of excessive attachment. A core teaching of Buddhism is that attachment is one of the primary roots of suffering. This principle becomes particularly relevant when dealing with toxic individuals. Often we find ourselves entangled in harmful relationships due to a sense of obligation, misplaced loyalty, fear of loneliness, or even a misguided hope that we can fix the other person. The Buddha taught that by clinging too tightly to relationships, even those that cause us harm, we bind ourselves to suffering. This doesn't mean we should callously discard relationships at the first sign of difficulty, but rather that we should cultivate a mindful awareness of when a relationship is consistently causing harm. Buddhist practice encourages us to develop compassion for ourselves as well as others, which includes recognizing when it's necessary to create distance or set firm boundaries. By avoiding excessive attachment, we can maintain our compassion for toxic individuals while also protecting our own well-being and spiritual growth. 3. The misguided attempt to fix others. There's an instructive story from Buddhist tradition about one of Buddha's disciples, Rahula, who once attempted to fix a troublesome monk through harsh scolding. In response, the Buddha gently advised Rahula to practice patience and to understand that each individual must walk their own path to enlightenment. This wisdom is particularly pertinent when dealing with toxic people. Often our first instinct is to try to change or fix them, believing that if we could just make them see the error of their ways, everything would improve. However, this approach often leads to frustration and disappointment. Buddhist teaching reminds us that true change can only come from within. Toxic individuals will only transform their behavior when they themselves recognize the need for change and choose to embark on that journey. Our role is not to force change upon others, but to maintain our own integrity, set healthy boundaries, and offer compassion from a place of non-attachment. By avoiding the urge to fix others, we free ourselves from the burden of responsibility for their actions and can focus instead on our own growth and well-being. Having explored what to avoid when dealing with toxic individuals, let's now turn our attention to the positive actions we can take. Buddhism offers a wealth of practical wisdom for navigating challenging relationships while maintaining our inner peace and compassion. Here's a Buddhist-inspired approach to handling toxic people. 1. Practice loving kindness. Loving kindness meditation, a cornerstone of Buddhist practice, cultivates compassion for all beings, including those who may cause harm or distress. This powerful technique involves directing positive thoughts and well wishes towards oneself and others, gradually expanding to encompass even difficult individuals. It's important to note that this practice doesn't advocate for tolerating abuse or harmful behavior. Instead, it aims to develop an inner sense of peace and equanimity that remains steady regardless of others' actions. By regularly engaging in loving kindness meditation, we can foster a more compassionate perspective towards toxic individuals while maintaining healthy boundaries. 2. Set boundaries with compassion. Buddhism teaches the concept of the middle way, emphasizing the importance of finding balance in all aspects of life. When dealing with toxic people, this principle translates into setting firm boundaries while maintaining a compassionate attitude. This delicate balance allows us to protect our own well-being without completely shutting others out or responding with hostility. Compassionate boundary setting might involve clearly communicating our limits, reducing contact when necessary, or redirecting conversations to more positive topics. By approaching boundary setting with wisdom and kindness, we create a space for both self-care and potential growth in our relationships. 3. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness, a central tenet of Buddhist philosophy, proves invaluable when navigating interactions with toxic individuals. By cultivating present moment awareness, we become more attuned to our own emotional responses and thought patterns during challenging encounters. This heightened self-awareness allows us to pause and choose our reactions consciously, rather than falling into habitual patterns of engagement that may escalate conflicts. Mindfulness practice enables us to observe toxic behavior without becoming emotionally entangled, creating a buffer that protects our inner peace. Moreover, by staying grounded in the present moment, we can respond to difficult situations with greater clarity and compassion, potentially diffusing tension and creating opportunities for more positive interactions. In essence, Buddhist philosophy offers a profound and practical framework for understanding and navigating relationships with toxic individuals. By integrating the practices of loving kindness, compassionate boundary setting, and mindfulness into our daily lives, we can develop a more resilient and peaceful approach to challenging interpersonal dynamics. These teachings remind us that while we cannot control others' behavior, we have the power to shape our own responses and cultivate inner harmony. Through consistent application of these Buddhist-inspired strategies, we can learn to recognize toxic traits more readily, avoid harmful reactive patterns, and maintain our equilibrium even in the face of negativity. This approach not only helps us create a life with less unnecessary suffering, but also opens the door to transforming difficult relationships through understanding and compassion. As we conclude this episode of the School of Buddha, we invite you to reflect on how these teachings might apply to your own life and relationships. May the wisdom of the Buddha guide you towards greater peace, compassion, and self-awareness in all your interactions. Remember, every moment offers an opportunity for growth and enlightenment, even in our most challenging relationships. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Buddhist wisdom. We hope these insights will serve as valuable tools on your journey towards a more harmonious and compassionate life. If you found value in today's teachings, please consider sharing this episode with others who might benefit. Your support in spreading these timeless principles helps create a more understanding and peaceful world. Until next time, may you walk the path of wisdom and compassion.